Number 3 is an interesting question. It's a throwback to last lesson or last unit. And all we have to do, we don't have to evaluate these. We don't have to work them out. I don't need you grabbing your calculator to do this. You just need to tell me which one has the greatest value and then an explanation why you know that. Okay, so this is all about estimation here. This is not about doing the work. Okay, so what I'm going to write out here is an estimate of what this would be. This is about 8. This is about 10. If I did about 8 minus 10, I would get roughly -2, which is small, right? And I'm leaning toward that not winning, but we'll see what happens. Okay? And then likely, similarly with this one, this is like -8 plus a -10, which would equal like -18. Looking worse than A. A's looking pretty good at this point, right? And then C is like -8 times 10, which would be super negative, because a negative times a positive is negative. That one's not looking good either. Okay, A is looking more and more like a winner until we run into D, because I don't really even need to think about what it is. It's a negative divided by a negative. It's going to be positive, and all of the other ones would have a negative value in the end. So it has to be the winner, since all the other ones are negative. Positive numbers always are greater than other numbers that are involved in the problem. All right, let's move on to number 4. Solving equations. I got plenty of space over here. I'll work them out. So we have to do 8.5 multiplied by 3, and it is a positive times a negative, so it will equal a negative. Results 15, carry our 1, 24 plus 1 is 25, decimal move. There we go for part A. Alright, let's move on to the next one, part B. Alright, we have -7 plus something equals -11. Just generally, I know B is going to have to be negative for this to be true, because of my knowledge of how negative numbers work. But we learned that if you take the number, that's your answer, and you do the opposite of what's happening to it, they're adding, so I'm going to subtract -7, we'll get our answer. And this would be -11, add the opposite, negatives win by 4. And that's our answer for that one. We can work it out in that manner. You could also think, what could I add to -7 and get back 4 more spaces? It would have to be -4. I could see some mental math being done there too. C. Something, C, minus -3 is equal to 15. Honestly, in this case, there are some different ways to approach this. You could do 15 plus -3, but I like to think of this as just adding the opposite from the get-go. You know, that might make your problem a lot easier, and then you can just think of it as 15 minus 3 to get my answer, which is 12. So C would equal 12 in that case. You know, but there's a lot of different ways to go through that process of thinking about it. That's just the way my brain works through it. D, something times a -4 equals 32. So to get this answer, a lot of different ways. You could divide 32 by -4. You could multiply 32 times -4's reciprocal. I personally think it's easier just to think of it as division by -4, which is -8 as a solution. And -8 times -4 is positive 32, so it makes sense. You can always go back and plug in your answer into the original and check to see if you're correct. Alright, so that finishes lesson number 2 in Unit 6.